The Grand Canyon is one of the most famous natural landmarks in the world. It's less than a full day's travel from Las Vegas, so we couldn't quite forgive ourselves if we didn't go and check it out. So let's head there. I'm Cam Spark.
I'm Craig Sisson. This is TuiTravel.
Welcome to the Grand Canyon. We're heading from the bright lights of Vegas across the border into Arizona and across the Mojave Desert into Grand Canyon Village, home to some of the best views of the Grand Canyon, one of the wonders of the natural world.
But first, 5 hours on a bus.
Yeah, we're pretty tired after a pre-dawn start. Watching the vast and crazy dry landscape pass us by is pretty cool though. After passing through what I can only assume is a portal to Mars, we drive through a landscape that is pretty different to anything we're used to. So even though there's a whole lot of nothing, it's still almost mesmerizing.
After a couple of hours, we stop for a rest, a chance to stretch our legs and take in some of that desert air. But there's still a long way to go, so it's back on the bus and back to watching the Mojave Desert go by.
Next stop, the little town of Williams, Arizona. The sun is shining, the air is pretty cold, and there's also a little bit of snow in sheltered areas. So we're walking down the street in Williams, pretty much the middle of nowhere, hours away from any other, even moderately substantial settlement. But it's really interesting.
Very quaint.
Yeah, to see a place like this, straight out of a movie. Some little dogs barking at us. But yeah, Arizona. Wandering around this little town is quite an experience. The buildings, the roads, and everything is just so different to what we're accustomed to back home. And on top of that, this was also the very first time we'd ever seen civilians carrying guns. A little unsettling for us Kiwis as we're not exactly used to seeing firearms, but also fascinating. Desert, and more desert. Then this. It is really spectacular. Wow.
After a quick wander around the rim of the canyon, we're off to our lodging, Yavapai Lodge in the Grand Canyon Village.
We've arrived in Grand Canyon Village and we've arrived at our lodge, which is, as you can see, in the forest. Walk into the general store and Grand Canyon Village. I am so tired.
Yavapai Lodge.
Yavapai Lodge in Grand Canyon Village. In the forest. There's supposed to be elk and stuff wandering around. Haven't seen any just yet. It's cooling down really quick as the sun starts to go down. And I'm all stuffed up. I feel sick and tired and grumpy. After a long bus trip, I'm gonna buy us some candy.
I don't know. Maybe eggnog. I don't know about candy.
Liquid candy.
Liquid candy.
General store. With candy in hand and the sun going down, pulling the temperature below freezing with it, we head back to our lodging to get warm and to get some much needed sleep. The rather dark walk back to our room through the woods. It's chilly. Plus we're about to get mauled by a mountain lion, so that's fun. That was quite good.
It's a crisp, beautiful morning in Grand Canyon Village, and while it looks nice, the change in humidity is really getting to us. With runny noses and chapped lips, we warm up by the fire and then head to Bright Angel Lodge to check it out.
This place reminds me of being on vacation in The Sims. The building has a really cool wood cabin look to it, which once again is something we're not exactly used to, so it kind of gives me a theme park vibe. It doesn't quite seem real. It's really cool though.
Next up, it's back outside to explore more of the canyon.
It's cold, but the sun is shining, and there's little bits of snow here and there adding to the look of the place, which is really spectacular. It's hard not to be in awe of just how enormously massive the canyon is. It's actually a little bit hard to comprehend in some ways, almost like your mind doesn't quite accept just how far it is to the other side. So we've been walking around the rim of the Grand Canyon for, I don't know, a wee while now. We briefly attempted walking down the Bright Angel Trail,
Too
but
icy, way too
really icy. We do not have the right equipment for that. There's sort of a thick layer of ice on it, so we decided rather than breaking our necks, we'd just wander along the rim, which is still pretty breathtaking.
The Grand Canyon is a very popular destination, so there's always plenty of people around. We'd recommend visiting Grand Canyon Village in the off-season, as in summer it can be extremely busy.
If you're not a huge fan of the crowds, you don't actually have to walk far from Bright Angel Lodge to get away from the other tourists. Most people seem to just stay in one area. A 5-minute walk in any direction and there's only a few people sharing the path with you. Walk for an hour and you're essentially alone.
And it's beautiful. Why wouldn't you want to keep walking? This place is stunning, and it's just so much fun to just wander along the canyon's rim and explore areas off the main trail.
Once you get away from the main viewing areas, there aren't any rails or anything in most places, so you do have to be just a little bit careful and not get too close to the edge, something Craig can forget at times.
Sorry.
The Grand Canyon is also home to loads of wildlife, and depending on the season, you can see the likes of elk, coyotes, raccoons and plenty of other critters, as well as some slightly less cuddly ones like rattlesnakes and scorpions. Bald eagles also call the canyon home, as well as cougars, and yes, I'm talking about the feline kind here, but they're rarely seen as they don't tend to get too close to humans.
So after enjoying our adventures along the canyon's rim and taking in hours of spectacular views in the crisp dry air, we feel like we've had our fill, and it's time to head back.
So currently we're heading back to get a bite to eat, have a little rest, and then we're saying goodbye to the Grand Canyon.
Warming up by the fire, we grab a late lunch before heading west.
With the sun starting to go down, we head back to Nevada, but before we go, elk finally showing themselves, bidding us a fond farewell. At least we like to think so. Thanks so much Grand Canyon, Arizona, you've been awesome. If you like this video on the Grand Canyon and want to see more from us at TuiTravel, hit that like button and subscribe. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram too. I'm That Flying Spark.
And I'm Upside Kiwi.
Thanks for joining us at the Grand Canyon. We'll see you next time.